jet streams.
Aerial bots, show them what you've got.
No!
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about the ZETA ZC06 Supertron Mini Metallic Edition. This is a Legends scale Superion, which is more or less sort of a scaled down version of what they did in the Masterpiece, but they did make some changes along the way, so it's not exactly the same part for part. Does look really good. I am very impressed with some aspects of it. There's a couple of minor issues here and there, and I'll show those and point those out as we go. But this is going to be an accelerated process from open the box to get it into combined mode, and looking at as much as we can look at along the way without this taking an hour and a half long. So we will see one bot mode, we'll see all the alt modes, we'll see the conversion into this combined mode. But I do want to say I did get this at Show Z. I will have a link down below where you can get yours. And of course, if you go there and buy anything or whatever, TH is my reviewer code. Help Mike out at Titanium Hangar. Anyway, let's get into looking at Supertron Mini Metallic Edition coming up. Alright, so here is the packaging on it. It's nice. You get to see the whole combined figure, which is really the whole point of this, by the way. But you get to see the bot modes, you get to see the alt modes, and all that good stuff. And it's real thin, too. Quite efficient. Also packed with a foam in here, so everything arrived in great shape. It looks pretty good, so that's how it's packed in the box. Alright, so here they are in their alt modes, and they do look pretty good. Pretty good as a team. The alt modes look great. Kind of the same thing with the Masterpiece ones. The Masterpiece ones all look great in their alt mode. They look fine, and they look fantastic in combined mode. So getting into here's Silverbolt, and he looks pretty good. Not a whole lot of paint on the top. You do have paint on all of those small windows in there, and then paint on the back here, like I guess more windows and stuff. You do kind of see some of the bot wrapped up on the bottom, but really it's pretty clean overall. You have this stuff here. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, not bad. Not bad at all for Silverbolt. Here he is from the back. And then we're going to the next one. And as this is my favorite one, but I don't remember all the individual names. I think this one is Air Raid, I believe. And looks pretty good overall. And so with this, does look like kind of like G1, except G1 stepped up a bit. So and they're not much bigger. They're probably about the same size as the G1 jets overall. Looking pretty good with that paint and the stripe there. One thing I noticed about, which one was it? One of these, I felt the die cast in it. So you do feel die cast in these. So there is some die cast in these. I'm not sure if that's the one, but we got the yellow stripes right here, and yeah, it does look good. So one thing about this, it's supposed to be the metallic one, but I mean, I was looking at some other reviews and pictures online, and it does appear to have a very similar paint to the original set that they put out. So they called it metallic, but it doesn't look much different than the originals. Maybe it's just an excuse to get them back out. I think this one here is Slingshot. Is that Slingshot? This one here looks pretty good too. So they all look good. One thing I'm noticing though, it seems like the arms aren't all the way in for whatever reason. It seems like the arms could have gone in a little bit more. I don't know if it's just mistransformed or whatever. And of course I have an issue here where that one doesn't have it. So I'm gonna have to mess with that a little bit, but still looks pretty good overall. And we look at this guy, and he's got paint here. So they do have lots of paint on them. They do feel like they have some die cast in them, some more than others. And of course the arms are gonna have a little bit less, but in the alt modes, a nice set of jets. So I'm not sure if this is all getting captured on the camera very well, but each one of these comes with two guns, which I'm not sure which guns go with which one. I just plugged them into the bottom of the wings just to get an effect so you can see. So we've got one gun that's like a double barrel, and this is another one with a double barrel, and it's got a different angle to it. And I would just have to look up which gun goes to which one. I'm not going to be displaying it like this. I'm going to put these all back in the box because I'm going to be displaying this in combined mode, but do show that you can put each of these guns underneath the wings in the little probably a 3mm hole right there, and that's where those could go. And if you want to, good for weapon storage. I don't believe you can store Silverbolt's gun anywhere. I didn't really see anything about that or where you could, but can we even see what those guns look like? He's blending in really well, but But yeah, there's those guns. 8 little guns, 2 for each figure. Pretty good. The instructions do actually show which guns go with which ones. So there it is. That shows you how that goes. Which guns go with him. So yeah, I guess it is pretty easy to figure out which ones go with which. We go with a quick size comparison. This is the G1 compared to the ZETA. The ZETA one's just a little bit bigger, a little bit longer. You can see the jets looked really good in the G1 era, as you can see, and the bottom very, very similar kind of stuff going on right there and all of that. So yeah, I mean, it's an improvement in a way. It does look a little bit more sophisticated in some ways, but size-wise, just a little bit bigger than vintage. And I actually think Silver Bolt's just a little bit smaller than its vintage counterpart, but I'm not disassembling my G1 all the way. I still need it for the combined comparison, which I believe is the most important part. More comparisons. I'm just going to kind of show each one real quick and then move on, but this is New Age McFan's Toys. That's the Jetfire, that's the Blitzwing, and then so we're going to go to the next one here and kind of get the size. Size-wise, they're all about the same. Very, very similar, all the appendages, kind of what we expect for aerial bots. And then, of course, Silver Bolt's just a little bit bigger, so you kind of get an idea how Silver Bolt matches up. Scale. All right, now to get Silver Bolt transformed into bot mode, because that is the way the instructions show and how you do it. And so we're going to lift up on all of this whole section here. And then it's all connected by this one bar here. Now, that bar is made of, I think it is die-cast. It feels pretty sturdy and pretty stout. All right, so we're going to fold this over. Now, this is something I didn't show in the alt mode, but, you know, it's got that whole sideways cone thing that it always does, which is kind of cool, I guess you could say. We're going to split the back here. Split the back. And it's a little more challenging than it looks, but you can get it done. Once you split the back, then we're going to separate it and flip it around, and you're going to bring it all up here. Now there's a hinge. It's hinged right here, down there, so you can tab it in. Like that. And then bring it all over here. Remember, of course, there's so much painted on this that I would be very, very careful not to mess up that paint. Let's bring that up off of there. And then with this, you're going to flip. This is going to rotate like this. And then it's going to come up and tab in. These two tabs right here are going to tab into those slots right there. And then we are going to fold. So this is on a slider. It is slid. Is it slid down? No, it's not. You got to slide this down and then tuck all this in like so. And it does feel kind of tight. Yeah, it does feel pretty tight overall. What happened to this here? Tuck in. Hope I got that right. I think I got that right. Looks pretty good. Now, I did pull this out earlier. I was like, is that a landing gear? It's not landing gear, but we'll use that later on here in a bit. And so now with that, we need to come around here to disconnect this shoulder piece right there. A little paint kind of flew off of there. Wow, that was crazy. And so now that that's disconnected, we need to lift this up. It looks like it's also pegged in with a red tab there. And then from here, all this stuff's going to come out. We're going to have the legs come down. And so, let's see here. This leg is going to, I believe it's going to slide down. Lift this tab up, slide, disconnect the leg, slide the leg one at a time. Fold this in, this in, this in. And this has a double hinge on it, so you can get it in just right. Just right. Oh, we got to get that foot out there. And then that should all tab in to strengthen that leg. And let's do the other leg. All right, so untab this, slide it down, fold this down, get it double hinged in just right. Get the foot out, which actually you don't even need to open it. You can get the foot out just like that. And then give a little bit of pressure right here so you have a standing strength. Now that he's like this, kind of looks fun from the front, we're gonna double hinge this into place. Like so, and like so. Then, all right, come on, get in place. There's a tab and a slot that has to fit into there. So this is a bit of a challenge. Let me get one of them off screen real quick. Yeah, you literally just have to push up on it as you're pushing it in, and then shoulders do shoulders things. But we're gonna finish truing up the, come on, truing up the arms here in just a bit. But right now we're gonna tab this in. So this slot that I pulled out will go into here, like so, and hold that in place. And all this should stay in place, I believe. Now we're coming around to this side of him, and we need to get the head out, which is simple head hiding features that we see with all of it. Now this is what kind of got me. I was playing around with it a little bit before I even transformed it, but there was no place to really do anything with this. I was thinking that there was going to be like a slider piece somewhere, and I just couldn't find one. And so literally you're just pulling the hand out. And I think that like if you push the hand all the way in, that's as far as it goes anyway. So it doesn't really get stuck. Anyway, there it is. You got the hand out, and then he's in his bot mode. Let's get him with his gun in his hand. Take a quick look at him in bot mode before we move on to the ultimate, most important part. He's back heavy too. Combine mode. I have no idea why I didn't pay attention to this until I started combining the guy, but Silverbolt also has this gun, and so he could hold both guns if he wanted to. And so, yeah, that looks right. Yeah, looks good. It works. And it'll combine when you go to combine mode. Alright, here is Silverbolt, and he looks quite nice, actually. It's a nice looking figure overall. I'm not going to spend much time on him, but he's got a nice head sculpt, and I think he even looks better than the Masterpiece one. I'm not going to compare him to the Masterpiece one, simply because time-wise, I don't want this to be an hour-and-a-half video, but I don't like that. But you just just give him a little bit of bend in his elbow, and he's good. Well, he does have, of course, the 360 right here. He does have the kind of movement right there, and he's got a 90 right here. And so with that, he can hold the pose. But just the way they have it, there's really nothing holding it in place. So that's a negative if you're going to do these guys in bot mode, which I don't think it's that big of a deal. Does he have he has an ab crunch. He has waist swivel. He's got is that a hip flap? What's that right there? Is that a hip flap you got going on there? So his side flap kind of got stuck in there. Out to there, out to here, weak in the knees. Look at that, well, he was weak in the knees. Do the splits. He can go right there, 90, foot, does that. Oh, that's kind of interesting, actually. But yeah, pretty good figure overall. The backpack likes to get untabbed a little bit. Backpack's a little bit, well, it's not bad. I've seen worse backpacks on Masterpiece figures, so not really bad. I got one real quick comparison with these, and this is accelerated program, so we can get into combine mode. But looking at this is a little bit bigger than Magic Square's Prime, which I feel is just fine. I feel like the leaders in these combiners can be the same size as Prime, maybe a little bit bigger than Prime. I'm fine with that. If they're shorter than Prime, I think it's a little too small. Same as Prime and Megatron, all that kind of stuff. Grimlock should be bigger than all of them. That's just the way Dinobots should be. I think all this fits scale-wise. Aesthetically, it looks great. All this looks good together. New Age, Magic Square, Dogs and Cats live together. Next, the accelerated program here, we're going to be creating the legs. So here's one that's done, and I've left it open to attach. We're going to do the same thing with this guy here. So we do have to separate the back piece. Now, this fell off on me, and I really am not too worried about it, but I didn't like that. I didn't like that it fell off. So I'm going to set that piece aside. We need to move this up, and we need to start disconnecting some of this stuff here so that we can get it to all work like it should. There's tabs here, tab here, and then down here. Now, I had my, in this one here, the feet were mistransformed from the factory, so that was an issue. Which, it's not an issue in this one, so you can kind of leave that one. We really just need to open this up, and then we need to get this down. Opening this up so all of this can come down. All that's going to come out of there. This is going to come down. This is going to tab into here. Slot in just fine. Like so. Let's get this slid in there. Slots. Now these are slightly a little bit different, and not enough different really to make a big deal. But so with the wings, we're going to rotate them and fold this underneath so that we get the clearance, and then we're going to rotate it back. How did I get that? Fold this underneath. Rotate it back. I guess we can go ahead and reconnect this right now if that's something you want to do. I guess you have to fold that out of the way. I don't know what's going on with this piece. It just fell off on me. I did not like that at all. So I'll try to figure out the best way to... I guess this was supposed to go up in here or slide to the side. All right, real quick, reattaching this thing that fell off on me. We're going to double hinge this piece around, and then right there, just plugs in. Should be simple and easy just to plug it in. And there's that. Next, we need to connect the foot. So here's the foot, and what it is 2 tabs on the sides, and then this clamps on the back. So now this one is going to have a black connector to match the color of this. So it all looks like it's continuous, like it was all done on purpose. So there's 2 slots, a slot here and a slot there. They're just kind of like partial slots, and we'll slide them in, match them up. Then we're going to, if you can see, just close this piece. And I'm going to do it with 2 fingers. And it's in there. The other one seemed to grab a little bit better, but anyway, there it is. I think you could also do the wings. I did the wings like that. I think you could probably do them to where you can tuck the tail fins on the inside, the end of the wings on the inside. But this was the easiest to me, and I just felt like going with it. Next, we need to connect it to the actual bot, and we're going to do that. Here are the leg pieces. Now, what we're going to do is open this up, and we're going to slide this T-slot into this little section here. As you can see, there's the notch that accepts the T-slot. So we're going to slide this in, and then we're going to close each piece on the sides like that. And let's see, how stout is it? Can you stand on your one foot while I grab the other one? So we're going to grab this guy here as superior on standing on 1 foot. We're going to make sure I left that open on the one that I've already pre-transformed. And really, there's not much difference in these transformations of these two. This one, instead of sliding together, this one clips together. Oh, man, everything clips really tight on this. So this is way tighter than the Masterpiece. Like, so far, I haven't gotten to the arms yet. When we get the arms, we'll see how that goes. But here we go. And slide this into the slot, into the T slot right there. Close this piece up, which this really is not the what holds it in place. What holds it in place is clipping those side pieces in. Now he's standing. I'm still standing. Let's close that in. Clean it up. I have a feeling this is going to keep falling off on me, but you know, I'm going to try to keep it intact. I might just throw it in the box, but there it goes. No, it just keeps falling off. This does kind of suck. There's things I can do, but this is an issue I'm having already. But that's not a big deal. Really, not a big deal. All right, let's get into the arms. And we're going to keep the camera like this. We'll up it when we get the arms ready to go. All right, now for the arms, we are going to get into this. So we will need to disconnect this and spread these as we disconnect that piece here. And we're going to disconnect the top part there. And we're going to readjust the head so that it's Going to give us a little bit more space in here. And pop that back on. So we're going to get this in its place, more or less. Now we're going to open this up here. And what we want to do in here, we want to unhook those wings. We need to get this connector piece out. And the connector piece is right here. So let's see about getting this connector piece out. I guess we can just fold it around like this direction, right? There we go. So we've got the connector piece out. We're going to have this down with the tabs into those slots right here. And we are going to open this up here. Get all this out of the way so we can get the joint freed up for this chest piece. Now this is going to come out of here. And then that's why you open the chest and get it closed back up and tabbed into place. And this fell off. This kind of stuff likes to fall off a lot. Reconnect it right here. So I've had a couple of these pieces fall off on me. It's tiny. Got to have a little finesse with it. I understand all of that. So we need to get this joint turned this way so that we can have the elbow, elbow articulation. So next we need to do some stuff. I guess we'll mess with this here in just a minute. We need to fold this back and this back on him and get that pushed in like so. And then we are going to, let's go ahead and put his hand on and then we'll tuck all that in. I mean, it doesn't really have to go in a specific order. It's not going to hurt anything so much, but there we go. Make him a nice little fist or something, so it's not so much in the way. Now we're going to adjust this to where we're going to need to get this to make that little airplane, just kind of like we always do. Make sure these are opened up, open them up so that they don't pop off, because they can very well pop off. And then we're going to have to adjust it in. Remember, everything's all painted really well. Double hinge right here. And then all right, as you can see, I keep popping these off. I'm just going to fold that down. This piece pops off. I'm going to tab it back on and just this is my plan. So because of these notches, it's hard to clear these notches. That's strange, but anyway, I'm just going to plug this on and plug it all on at the same time. And tab it in and plug it on at the same time, just like this. It's going to work. Just simple physics. Tab in. There it goes. I don't know. That's a little bit more challenging than I thought it would be, than it should be. So it is a bit more challenging than it should be. But it is what it is. And it's going to come untabbed, I guess. But all right. Now we've got the arm. And let's make sure that we've got the chest tabbed in all of the way. So all that's good, and we can start with the combining of this. We start getting into too much combining. Let's go ahead and lift this headpiece up. We're going to look right here that we have these slots, this back piece here. Now this is made out of die cast, I believe. Is that? This is die cast for sure. That might be plastic. When you look at this slot here, it almost looks like, because you have this strange pattern. It's like a, how do I get on camera? There's a pattern there. And then there's a pattern on this, and it almost looks like you'd want to match the pattern up. But you don't want to match the pattern up. What you want is the square to go into the front, because it's a square past that pattern. So there you go. And then you close this down over it, and it's a nice solid connection. So that's what you want with that. Let's go ahead and do the other side. Lift this up. Take this guy here and say, okay, square to the front. Because if it matched that exactly, then it would slide out, right? I mean, that's the sense on that. So here we go. Seems to be some confusion in the community about that, but here we go. That's on there. Now, you don't have to have Silverbolt in there, but you can put Silverbolt in there. Let's go ahead and attach a head real quick and get them built up, and then compare them to Silverbolt and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll put Silverbolt in there. He has two heads right now. Yell at the screen. Pick left or right. Left or right. I'm gonna go with this one. Should have gone right. I know. Left. We can always swap it out, right? Once we put Silverbolt on there. And he's built. We also need to do his gun. So we're going to take Silverbolt's gun out of his 3mm port hand that he has going on there. And then we're going to open up this. And then we're going to slide on this piece here. And then close it up. Right. Oh, so technically this was Silverbolt's gun all along? Okay. This thing does transform. You do have to pull this out. That's his gun, all that kind of stuff. So we put it into here. And then we can close it up. There we go. All right, got all that stuff done for the gun. And then this transforms too, like this. And let's make sure that this tabs in really good. There we go. Now we can put Superion's gun in here. All right, so here he is in his combined mode, and I have to admit, he looks awesome. This is one fantastic looking figure, and it's pretty solid. Some things about this are better than the masterpiece, meaning that some things like these arms, once you get them clipped together, which it is a little frustrating, but once you get them clipped together, they are not falling apart. The masterpiece one, it falls apart. From the back, it looks nice and clean. From the front, it looks nice and clean. The side, it looks nice and clean. And we'll see what it looks like with Silverbolt in there here in a little bit. But he does look really good. The legs, the feet, did I have the feet on the wrong side? I got my feet on the wrong side. That sucks. All right, just swap the legs to get them on the correct side so you have the right ankle pivot and all that kind of stuff. All right, so I mean, I made a couple mistakes here, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's a Superion. It's a 5-part combiner. Now, this guy looks great, solid. Let's take a look at this paint, and he is painted up here really well. The face looks okay. Yeah, it looks fine. I think the head's painted. Those are definitely painted. He's got clear translucent for the eyes. Paint on this chest piece here, and then if you want on this chest piece, you can put this on right here. It just kind of clips into place like that, and it's not a super tight fit. Like it could pop off pretty easy, but there's that. The arms look good. We'll get into articulation here in just a second, and then going down a little bit more. Paint right all through this waist piece. Now this is, of course, the legs are all. The hip area is all one. That's the ZETA Toy World, what they do. But hey, at least they do that and they know what they're doing versus like some masterpiece companies that don't know what they're going to do with theirs. So, and then getting into the legs or the lower feet. I like the way this looks. I don't think they give you the option to flip it around, and I wouldn't want that. They want it Super G1, and G1 didn't have it flipped around. G1 had it looking like this. So this is how it should look. And they want it to look sort of as cartoony as possible, and so I like it. I like it with the aesthetics so far. So let's quickly get into a quick articulation, and then we can get into comparisons. But let's swap the head real fast, I guess, before we do Silverbolt too. You think it would be easier? All right, head swapped. It's not that hard. I make things look harder than they are, and we'll get into articulation. Head's a standard ball joint, side to side, left all the way around. You go out to here, just about the 90, 360. Of course, you get a 360. Now, you are going to be hindered by this little mini jet going on, and mine's already bumped out. And I don't know if I can bump it back in, but with it bumped out a little bit, you can get a little bit more range going on here. That's a little tight right there. And that's kind of wanting to come undone, So a couple of minor things is like this is wanting to come undone when you're doing your articulation, all that kind of stuff. And so I could get this in a little bit tighter again, but let's move on. Hands are really nice hands to where they're splayed. They look good. They can get a lot of decent poses with them, and then you can make a nice solid fist with them. So they're kind of like upgraded KFC hands, except for a small combiner. All right, waist swivel, and all this is just going to be great. Ab crunch, and you got a nice ratchet well, I don't know if it's, it's not ratcheted, but there it is. And feels solid as a rock. Solid. All right, getting into this all the way out to the right, front. And, you know, I might be doing something wrong. Why this thing keeps popping off. This has popped off like 5 times. I might be doing something wrong on that. I don't know. I won't be doing like crazy stuff with it in the future. That's about as far as it goes with the knee, thigh swivel, and then you have the rocker down here and all kinds of stuff with that parts forming foot. But see about getting this thing put back on. So I guess we're going to work on this guy. Let's fold his head in. Let's pull this out. Let's close in his hands and fold them around about. Same thing here. Let's fold these around and about. Close in the hand and get that there. Now, what we're going to do is effectively roll these arms down sort of out of the way. We're going to bring the legs up, and since they are articulated, fold the feet in. We're just going to fold his legs around his back, and I do feel some die cast in there too. Make sure the hip flap's out of the way. So we're going to fold this up, bring this up, and what we have to do though, we have a slot here, a tab there in the shoulder. So we got to bring the shoulder down and keep that hip flap in line. And this is going to tab into the shoulder piece is going to tab into the leg. So that's how that's going to work. Got to get all of that lined up just right. And go past there, get this in line, and then tab it in. Okay, like that. I guess that's how that's going to work. All right, we'll do the other side. So there's a hole. There's a red hole, a red cylinder. That's, you're going to make it line down here next to this tab slot. There's a hole and a rectangle, in case you didn't really see what I did the first time. And let's get it to tab in. And we're going to go ahead and put this piece that I pulled out earlier is going to tab into here, and then that's going to tab together, and then this is all going to plug in. So a bunch of stuff having to line up at once and tab in at once, and it works, fine. So then we're going to move the shoulders back here, and then there's a tab and a slot. So we've got to align them like this, and don't scratch the paint. Lesson learned, huh? That is all painted. Don't scratch the paint. All right, same thing over here. Get this all lined up and plug it in without scratching the paint. She looks something like this, and it's going to plug into something like this. So spin around. I got that plugged in nice and tight off camera. Seriously, some of the stuff that I struggle with on camera, and everyone struggles with on camera, you're gonna have a much easier time without sitting behind a camera and just actually looking at it and not looking at it through that. So seriously, that's a reality. There you go. Things are so much easier like that. And boom, he's got Silverbolt in it. No difference really, except for now you've got some wings hanging off the back and all of that kind of stuff. But we're going to get him semi-posed for, not a photo shoot, but for some comparisons. And yeah, rather nice. I mean, he's a little bit more back heavy now that he's got Silverbolt in him, but still solid. Still really solid. If you take a little time, tapping everything in just right. Solid bot. First comparison is with a G1, and I've got to say that this is definitely an upgrade, a massive upgrade from G1. If this is one of your favorite figures from when you were a kid like me, getting something like this is ultra exciting. It's just amazing. Like, this could fit in your G1 collection, scale-wise, size-wise. Well, technically, G1 scale should have been like twice the size. But anyway, it looks great. And of course, the G1's a classic, and I remember buying mine with my own money, piece at a time, and that was fun. Well, not really, but it was exciting to finally get it, though. Here he is next to... This is the McFans Toys version of Omega Supreme. Here's next to a G1 Jetfire. That's how he looks. I just kind of remember the same size. G1 Jetfire, same size as combiners, all that kind of stuff. Here he is next to Pangu Toys Omega Supreme. It would have been a nice side-by-side in bot mode, but I have not gotten around to doing that yet. Putting them back in bot mode. I was actually going to review more Legends and just put them on this and have fun with it. But anyway, there it goes. And here he is with Magic Square, McFans Toys, Magic Square, New Age 1.0, and Iron Factory. So the thing is, obviously, decent size combiner. Will fit and work with pretty much everything. He's fine. But one thing I want to point out is that I am using the New Age in my display, and so I'm going to be using Magic Squares for comparisons. Okay, so he also comes with these two little wings. I just realized I didn't have them put on, but these two little wings here, I forgot to put these on. They clip into this, and I actually had them in when I first opened the box, and I said, no, I want to show the putting in of this so that everyone can see it. So now, yeah, oh well. Go reshoot all the footage, or just you get to see it now. You get to see it now. And yeah, it looks fine. It looks good. It adds a little flair to it, but not much. So I'm going to close this review out with a forced perspective of ZETA's masterpiece. As you can see, I have actually the arms completely reversed and the legs completely reversed. But I was matching their box, so that was what I was trying to go for, was the box match for ZETA. Anyway, what do I think of this guy? I think that he is a very solid release. I think that there's a lot of small, tiny, fiddly bits, and that they sort of took the Masterpiece 1 and scaled it down, but they learned a lot. So there's a lot of differences that you notice, like you don't have these bits that would be right here and a problematic parts right there in the other one. So they changed some stuff around when they swapped it out. Maybe they looked at what didn't work and what did work, and they just kept what worked, got rid of what didn't work, and all that kind of stuff. And I like that. I like that. Overall, I think it's a solid figure. There are parts that pop off, but they pop right back on. So I'm not mad about that. Like, nothing popped off. It was officially broken and it won't go back on. It was all little pop-on parts and pieces, and I'm fine with that. Some of the transformation, it seems like it doesn't quite want to go in. Parts pop off, put them together, pop them back on. It's fine. So with that, I think that it's a very solid release. Price point's just fine. I think this is about $170 price point. I haven't looked at the price, but I will have a link down below where you can get yours at Show Z. Like and subscribe. Tydirium Hanger. Out.
Tron, meet Superion!